Salute wrestling friends and welcome to Goodbread Wrestling Channel, also known as the Figure 4 TV. Now today guys, we're going to go over Tessa Blanchard's career and we're going to zero in on some comments that Mark Henry made over on the Busted Open radio station. He made some comments about Tessa and what she might need to do to get the fans back on her side because she is getting no reaction and she's way too good to not get any reaction from the crowd. So she definitely got to do something. She got to do something. All right, so check out the intro, and when we get back, we zero in on Mark Henry comments.
So you liked the opening X Division match.
I did.
I want to ask you your opinion on something because this is touchy, but I know I can go there with you. Tessa and Masha. People don't want to respect. People don't want to respond to Tessa, do they? They don't want to cheer. They don't want to boo. They don't want to do nothing, no matter how good she is.
Yeah, at one point, Bully, I saw, they were in a hold, and the people in the crowd were like visibly arms folded.
Yep.
Looking like I'm not going to respond. Like, in a case like that, if you want to have a career at the high level, like you have to lobby to have one. You have to make atonements and get the people that were affected in your problem to say, hey, this is legit. This person is trying to go forward with life. And we both have really come to an agreement. We come to an understanding that life is better when everybody is happy and not just one person, and you got to get out of your own space. And if just because you feel some kind of way don't mean you should say it, and not just hiding the fact that you say something, but that you actually have remorse. And until that day comes, it's going to be what it is. It's
Mark, do you think that Tessa is a really good pro wrestler?
I think she's a really good wrestler, and I never had no issues with her. But the issues that she had is beyond me.
Right.
The issues that she's having is that people don't have faith in her as a person, not as a wrestler. Her wrestlers, she wrestles as good as anybody in the world.
It's true. It really is.
And you look at the situation like with Hogan. Hogan came to Austin, and there were like 5 scheduled things for him to do, selling the All-American beer. He did one appearance in North Austin in Gerald, Texas. All the rest of the 4 radio stations and places canceled because they didn't want him in the studios. And one of those studios was ours. I didn't have a say in the matter. It was the other 2 hosts that had shows where he was supposed to come on their shows. They just canceled. They was like, hey, we good. And that's what's happening to Tessa. Until she can, have those people and apologize to those women and get those women to go, hey, she's trying to do better. She's trying to be better. I feel like it's sincere. Like, until that happens, that's just what it's going to be.
Do you think people are ever going to appreciate the wrestler that Tessa is?
I hope they would one day because the talent is undeniable.
Tessa Blanchard seemed destined for the world of professional wrestling like many third-generation talents as the daughter of the famed Four Horsemen Tessa Blanchard and the stepdaughter of Magnum TA, two legends in the industry in their own right and Hall of Famers. With wrestling in her blood and in her brain, she began training in 2013, debuting as a pro. The following year, she worked on an independent circuit and made some untelevised appearances for Lucha Underground in 2016. She got her first crack at WWE NXT later that year. Blanchard did the honors for future world champions Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, and Carmella. She also competed in the Mae Young Classic tournament in 2017, where she lost to Kairi Sane in her opening bout. That was it for Tessa in WWE. She wasn't offered a contract at the time. She was just brought in as capable talent for some chosen prospects, yet many still saw someone who could have a huge future with WWE expanding women's wrestling revamp. At the same time, she signed with TNA, which was Impact Wrestling at the time, in 2018 for the most notable run of her career to date, debuting for the company at the Redemption 2018 event as a commentator during a Knockouts women's match. She quickly beat Kyrie Hogan in a pair of bouts, but was defeated early in her run by Madison Rayne. Madison and Cara then picked up a tag team win over Tessa and Shotzi Blackheart. Yes, that Shotzi Blackheart from WWE. Tessa Blanchard, though, would start to have upward momentum, racking wins over Ali Rebel and Alicia Edwards before challenging for the Knockouts Women's World Champion in the Impact Redefined event in August of 2018. That match, Tessa beat Ali and champion Su Yung to win her first Knockouts Women's World Championship. Around that time, she also competed in the original All-In event in 2018, the Ultimate All-Star Wrestling card that would eventually launch the groundwork for All Elite Wrestling. There she took on Dr. Britt Baker, T veteran Madison Rayne, and the future WWE Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green. Tessa actually won the match in front of a sold-out arena, which was a huge victory. Looking back on it over on Impact, Ty Valkyrie would be the one to dethrone Blanchard for the Knockouts title, with Gail Kim, the veteran, having a hand as the special guest referee. Blanchard tried to get physical with the veteran during the match when went wrong for her, courtesy of an eat defeat. Tessa and Valkyrie would have a rematch in a street fight for the title, which Taya won. This led Tessa to seek out Gail Kim, who cost her the title to begin with. The two feuded for a while. Great to see Tessa tingle with a true women's legend attacking her and getting in some serious conflicts. The eventual showdown came on the Impact Wrestling Rebellion event in April of 2019, with Tessa coming out on top. This made history as Gail Kim's final TNA match, seemingly passing the torch to a younger generation, someone that they believe could carry the torch. They even shared a few kind words after the bell. Tessa chased the knockout title for a few months following this, taking on an upcoming Jordan Grace, who was also on the hunt to become one of the top names in the business. She would also pick up a win against Glenn Gilbert, yes, Disco Inferno, in a women's battle royal on Impact Television. This was unsurprising, as Tessa was no stranger to intergender matches on the independent circuit, and she certainly had the physique to hold her own with anyone in front of her. In June of 2019, Blanchard faced a new challenge, a significant one, as she crossed paths with OVE, otherwise known as Ohio versus Everyone, catching the eyes of their chaotic leader, Sami Callihan, versus Tessa Blanchard, headline Slammiversary 2019, with the Death Machine coming out on top. This made history as the first intergender match to headline a major wrestling pay-per-view. Their feud continued in the following month with Tessa enlisting the help of ECW original Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, and Rhino to defeat OVE on an August episode of Impact. Towards the end of the year, Tessa won the #1 contender gauntlet for the Knockouts champion, but for the Impact World's Championship. Yes, the men's world title, no less. It was a breakthrough moment for her and women in professional wrestling, and she was the only woman to compete in it. Adding to an impressive 2019, Tessa worked with AAA in Mexico, picking up a reign with his Reina de Reyes Championship, which translates in English to Queen of Queens Championship. Tessa continued to march into 2020 at January Hard to Kill event for Impact, enduring another brutal rivalry with OVE and Sami Callihan. Callihan, who is now the Impact World's Champion in the main event, Blanchard defeated Callihan, becoming the first woman to win the men's world's title in a major televised promotion. This was irrefutably groundbreaking. True, Lucha Underground did some similar stuff a few years prior. There's always China having the WWE Intercontinental Championship, but that was in 1999, and it was always a secondary act to the main event. Blanchard win came over 20 years later in a much different light, and a much more subversive light. It felt special and unique. However, here goes the black cloud, guys, and you know we was going to get to the controversy. We got to get to the controversy. Prior to her match with Sami Callihan on what was to be the biggest night of her career up to that point, Tessa took to social media with a post encouraging women to support each other, which prompted a very different response than one might have expected. In response to her post, Tessa received a series of very harsh allegations from across the wrestling world. Respected talent like Chelsea Green, Gigi Dolan, NWA Women's Champion Allison Kay all spoke out against Blanchard, alleged that she had been abusive and racist to other women in the wrestling locker room. According to Kay, Blanchard allegedly spat in the woman's face and allegedly called that same woman racial slurs while sharing a locker room with them. In Japan, according to Chelsea Green, Blanchard allegedly bullied and belittled a vast number of female talents in various locker rooms across the wrestling world. Blanchard denied these allegations across the board, addressing them in a February 2020 interview with Fightful.
Hey, Tessa, there were obviously some controversies around the weekend when you won the championship. We haven't exactly heard you speak about that. We've seen some tweets about that, but haven't exactly heard you speak about it. Anything you can add beyond what you tweeted that weekend?
Sure. Who am I speaking with?
Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.
Okay, Sean. Nice to speak with you.
Yeah.
You know, it was a very emotional weekend. It was full of highs, full of lows. I chose to step away from social media for a little bit because of all the things that were going on. But, you know, with everything that went on that weekend, not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to agree with what I choose to do in my life. I've made mistakes. I've faced challenges. One thing I will say, though, is I've never used a racial slur of any kind. It's just not in my heart. It's not something that I've done. It's not something that I will do. It's just not true. Some people, they look at social media and someone will make an accusation, someone will say something, and then everyone hops on the bandwagon. You know, we've all got our own stories. There's a side of everyone's life, you know, that's public, and there's a part that's private. There's a part that's portrayed for all the world to see and can be judged by anyone that's actually interested in it. And it's very unfortunate that some people resort to saying certain things, but it's just not true. And that's as much as I'll say on it, because I know who I am. People online that's the world we live in with social media. I've faced challenges and obstacles that have enabled me to persevere to become the woman and the athlete that I am today. And this is just another stone in that step.
Did that affect you mentally going into your match? What, like, all that happened that weekend and some of the stories that emerged?
You know, Sean, that weekend,
Muted.
I'm going to remember for a while, because it's a moment, it's a match, it's an event that I prepared for mentally and physically for months and months and months. And it had been built up for 8 or 9 months, I believe. So there was already a lot of emotions that go into it. And the day before, I was kind of hit pretty hard. It's something that I chose to step away from social media, to step away from everything and kind of live in the real world, because to see your coworkers and to see your peers say things about you and some things that are just not true about you, it did hit me very hard. But I'm the kind of person who I have extreme mental strength. And with my family, with my little sisters being there that weekend in the front row to watch everything culminate at that event, it was special for me. So I knew that everything that I've been through, I was going to have to use it as fuel almost to go out there and perform to the best of my ability, to be the best version of Tessa Blanchard that I could be that night, and go out there and win the world championship. That way, my little sister who's 12, other little girls, any younger talent might look at me and take something that I love, and I went and I made myself great at it, and they can take what they love and they can become great at it too. And that's what motivated me. I can handle almost anything. You know, not everyone's going to like you. I'm going to build my own legacy based on my work ethic, not by trying to win some popularity contest.
I could be wrong, but in my educated opinion, this seems like a lot of jealousy. It seems like those women were in that locker room and they were jealous because of the momentum Tessa was gaining, fighting the men, beating on them. So then they came and they throw this accusation on this woman right here. And I know Tessa. Tessa can't control herself. She ain't got no self-control just like the rest of them. And she fed right into it. She bit the bait. That's how they get you. They always form an accusation on you, something, they say something that's not true about you to have you lose the opinion of the fans. Once the fans go against you, then the other wrestlers who can't compete with you, then it's their turn to shine. Now they'll trial up in front of that same audience that they turned against you, Tessa that is, and want the audience to cheer them. In conclusion, guys, I think we need to let it go. She apologized. I think she is sincere. And we forgive everybody. We forgive Stone Cold Steve Austin. Y'all know I was going to go there. We forgive Stone Cold. And if we could forgive Stone Cold for the things he have done and he have said and the person he really is outside the ring, then we can forgive Tessa Blanchard. One thing we cannot deny that she is the truth in that ring. She is the truth in that ring, and she will be in WWE. They sent her to TNA to test the waters, to get the little heat off her in TNA, because they didn't know how it was going to go down, and they didn't want to risk it and bring her straight to the main roster, and then they get mega backlash, OD heat. So give it about a couple more months. Ain't nobody going to care. Ain't nobody going to care. There's always going to be your wrestling trolls and your fake historians that want to bring up dumb shit, but ain't nobody going to want to care. This girl is the truth, and I can't wait till she gets to the main roster and we get those matches. We get that Charlotte Flair versus Tessa Blanchard, the 4 horsewomen. I can't wait. So many matches, guys. So y'all let me know down in the comments section. Should they forgive her, or should she just leave? Or what should happen in this situation? What y'all want to happen? Because clearly TNA, they know who draw money, and Tessa drew a lot of money for TNA. So let's see what you guys think. Like, share, and only subscribe if you're a wrestling fiend, guys. That's all we do over here is talk wrestling, guys.